So why do we care about technology? We use technology to make a better us. The thing about a lot of people when it comes to technology, they don't interpret it correctly. When you ask businesses, well, why do you want to be digital? Well, everybody else is doing it. Or I want to grow 10% or whatever. No, these are the people who do not understand what technology actually means. Technology is about transformation. It's about you becoming a better you, but you're still you. You're still about the story of your company. And so today, this is a lecture from my graduate class, but I'm actually posting the video to all my classes for the simple reason I think it really covers some important ground. So, why do we care about technology? What's the vision and mission? What's the context that we're working under? What strategy do I need to formulate to take advantage of it, and how am I going to execute? And so this is about digital transformation. Now, well, why do we develop technology? Well, make our lives easier, solve problems that we have in the world, be more productive, in a need, because it's there, because somebody believes that I can do this. And so when we look at technology, it affects us one of two ways. Externally, we interact with technology through our senses, sight, hearing, our sense of touch, everything else. And then there's internally how technology touches us. And that's either intellectually or emotionally, fulfills our needs. But what it comes down to is technology makes a better us. And so once we digitize us, what happens? We're looking to make a better us and to fit us personally. We need it to physically fit us in terms of size and weight. And we want it to be faster and we want it to be cheaper. Not only does it touch us individually, it touches us collectively as a network. And so I want it to be wider, deeper, and faster. I want it to touch a lot of people, know as much as possible about everyone, and to be able to do it quickly. These are the technologies that define our age, whether it's devices, Internet of Things, cybersecurity, AI, and machine. A lot of people misinterpret AI, but AI or machine learning, blockchain, and it's still about the cloud. And the reason why is the cloud allows us to access one thing to another. For example, supposing I need a $1 million computer to run simulations. Well, I can't do that on my puny desktop. But because of the cloud, I can connect my computer to that $1 million computer. And what will happen is my commands will go to that $1 million computer and it will send me back the results. So my bandwidth is only limited by the interface, not by the actual computing. That's done somewhere else. So when we have this good stuff that digitification presents to us, is we have computing, a lot of computing power, storage, and network speed. What it translates to is it makes me more efficient in a business because I'm a better me. It can lead to operational excellence and also predictability. And it's reliability. You don't have people doing these things anymore. You have machines, which are going to make a lot fewer mistakes. But most of all, what this all translates into is scale. This is where I can start touching 1 million people. It makes us better. Not only that, it touches everything today. Every technology in the world, pretty much every business function in the world is going to touch digital one way or the other. And this is why we have unprecedented global scale, why everything is connected. So when we look at that scale, we can look at it from me as an individual, going all the way up to global reach. And so as we watch it, as it gets bigger, individuals make divisions, divisions make up enterprises, which even greater than the number of the enterprise is the number of customers you're going to touch, hopefully. And we even talk about space, because satellites and stuff like that. We talk about going beyond a global scale. And so what are the things that impact it on a division scale? You're more interested in operation. In terms of the enterprise, it's about the products and services you offer, the market, and and the best situation I could possibly be in. is when I'm in those ROI situations, meaning I understand everything so well. If I spend money, I know I can make money. And so all of this has to play together. And so the key to all this is how do I integrate all these pieces and all these different levels of demand? Now, when I look at digital features, there are obvious things that you can construe from it, but you have to think about what the real implication is. For example, if I have low incremental cost, meaning that if I add another user, the cost in a digital system is virtually nil. So it's like, oh, I can make higher profit. But the real implication is that when you add volume, since there is no cost, all of a sudden now all these features and everything else, you could start offering to other people. There's not this scaling limitability you've removed. Always on, higher profit because I have more hours, but it also means that I can operate anywhere in the world. And so it doesn't matter. I can open up storefronts in India from here. And I'm capable of doing that because I'm always on. And in terms of cognitive capacity, meaning how much information can I take and process? So it's like, oh, now I need less people. So if I have less people, I can make more money. And now the real implication is that since you have more information per person, you can become deeper and you can take advantage of that by having those insights. Anytime you institute any major change, it requires activation energy. And that activation energy is really high. So if I want to make a change in an organization, not only is it they say I'm going to make this change, but I have to change culture, I have to change processes, I have to change consistency. It's a huge amount of time, money, and bringing in the expertise and infrastructure to do it. But what it comes down to is once you can reach that critical point, then you get traction in your organization. That's what the downward slope is. And so how can I do this quickly and efficiently? It's not easy. This is where you get to leadership and processes. So in order to build better digital strategies, what lessons do we learn? Well, first, why should we do it and why haven't we? Well, there are pragmatic reasons. Maybe I want to do it because it's the best practice. It's profitable. It's disruption. The industry is becoming disrupted. I need to be part of that. And it also could be dissatisfaction from my customers. If I don't keep up, it's, for example, if you still had a bank where you had to withdraw money by bringing in a deposit slip to get your cash out, no, everybody would leave that bank. Right now, the standard is an ATM. And so it's pretty much what everybody's talking about these days. How do I digitally transform? What does it mean? And so when you look at the number of searches, as you can see, it keeps going exponentially up because people are trying to get it. It's everywhere. It touches every industry. And not only that, it binds industries together. And so when we look at the return and the costs involved, a lot depends on your light industries or heavy industries. And I'll let you go ahead and look at that on your own. But they know it's coming. And so they anticipate that they're going to be disrupted through digital technology or new applications or software. And yet 87% know it's coming. And yet only 44% are actually preparing for it. Yeah, kind of reminds me of the Games of Thrones, huh? Yeah, the guys in Winterfell know what's going on. Unfortunately, those guys in King's Landing, yeah, they're going to be in trouble, especially when those ice dragons come in. Anyway, why is it so important to realize that winter is coming? 52% of the Fortune 500 since 2000. Like Fortune 500, you know, we've got 100,000 enterprises here in the United States, probably a lot more than that, or hundreds of thousands, I should say. And the big 500, 52% are gone, wiped out. Either they went bankrupt or they got eaten up by somebody else. 48% of companies had hired digital masters to lead transportation. Kind of nice how that adds up to 100, doesn't it? 26% are more profitable than the competition, and 9% are conservative companies, and they have uh, value good leadership over what the competition is doing. The thing is, tech touches all these different industries. When we look at ROI for different industries, you could see those that are asset heavy, which means they still rely on machinery and the old way of do things, versus asset light. And yet 28% of the companies uh, have only made the transformation into digital over the last 20 years. And so when we look at these uh, digital industries and how much they spend, as you can see, it's not cheap. It's a big investment and it's a big change. Uh, and so when we look at the infrastructure, then I need to pull this off. Uh, I have to think about the infrastructure. You know, am I going to outsource my hardware? Do I want to own it? The training, the consultants, the ramp up, the restructuring. And not only that, I'm going to lose output. I'm going to be losing output in this change when I have my old people transition over into the new way of doing things. So it's a big bet. It's got to include everyone because it's going to touch everyone. And so your role in this is, are you going to use it? Are you going to act on it? Or are you going to be the recipient of its services? And so this integrates into your culture. It's got to be part of your company DNA. It's the only way changes take place. I'm sure a lot of you have been in corporations where, oh, we're going to have this new change, we're going to have this new change, and everybody's like, yeah, whatever. I'll just sit around. It'll go away in 6 months. Uh, so why haven't they done it? It's scary. When you think about putting yourself at risk, it's the probability that something will happen times the impact. Well, there's a lot of uncertainty, which drives the probability down. And not only that, but if you don't have a feel or understanding of it, even more probability that you will fail. And the impact is huge. You could potentially spend up to 0.5% of all revenue. It could be a big chunk of change that you're going in on. And so the perception is, when should I act? And you would think pain versus gain. Is there more likely to act? And yet look how flat it is regarding pain. And that's that people don't view this as a threat and something that they need to do. And so we'll talk more about this in part 2.